Hello, I'm Dara and welcome to my beef farm. In this week's video, we're going to pick a few cattle out and get them ready to go to the livestock market. I'll let you know how we get on with them at the end of the video. And we also have to finish a bit of slurry before this year's deadline comes and get all the tanks empty. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We get straight into it. I'm in the yard now at the moment. I've just picked out 4 heifers, as you can see there behind me, for the Mart on Thursday, and they're good, really heavy heifers. I'll give you a better look at them and I'll talk you through them. These heifers are probably 19 and 20 months old. I'll probably pair those two side by side together there, put them in as a one lot number. They're about 580 kilos or a little bit along with it. The big one there, a taller Charlie, and she's equally as good as them there. She's about 604 kilos. And the lighter one then at the wall is about 500 and something kilos there. So they're all Charlies out of the bull, I think, Bud Orpheus at CH 5932, if anyone is interested to know. The whiter heifers would be out of Charlie cows, cross cemental, and one in the corner, the orangey one, is probably out of a limousine cow. Good heifers now. I'd be very happy with them. I'd definitely say they're U grading heifers. Even could be as good as U equals there. So really good heifers anyway for whoever wants to purchase them. I think the trade is a little bit back in the Mart at the moment. I know the factories have pulled the beef price by 30 cents a kilo, so I'm not really sure what I'd be expecting for those heifers. I just hope that they'll sell well on the day. They're my first draft out of the beef heifers. Any of the other good strong heifers have nearly been bulls, so that's kind of the run. And maybe I should be selling that type of heifer earlier, a bit later. Before I used to finish these heifers, but at the moment I can't finish all my stock here because of changes made to derogation. Now, I suppose for anyone who is looking in, is not really from a farming background, or maybe from a farming background or from a different country, farming talk is nearly like a different language to people. But derogation, what it is, it's a nitrates derogation. It's almost like a quota, for want of a better word. So I'm in derogation, which allows me to carry a higher stocking rate. And we used to have an upper limit of 250 kilos of nitrogen per hectare. So how is that calculated? Every animal on the farm, cows, bullocks, heifers, calves, and different age groups of animals, all are given an overall total, what they will excrete in terms of nitrogen for the year. So every day your animals are on the farm, they're excreting nitrogen. That's all added up at the end of the year. It's averaged and it's divided by your total number of hectares. So before, I would have had to come in under 250 kilos, and I used to have no bother doing that at the higher rate. But a couple of years ago then, the nitrogen derogation was reduced, so it was reduced back to 220. So that put my farming system under a bit of pressure last year. So it didn't allow me to fatten any of my continental cattle. None of my bullocks were fattened last year, and very few of my heifers. The majority of them were sold live off the farm here. That's a big reason why my heifers are being sold off the grass here and not being fattened myself, is because we have to keep under that 220 total limit for the end of the year. So by moving on cattle now, once they're gone off the farm now, their nitrogen excretion will no longer be counted and added to the overall total. So I have to keep an eye on that throughout the year. So it's another rule and regulations that, you know, you might say, oh, farmers are bunged down in red tape. You don't know really what the red tape is. Well, that's just one example of it on a beef farm here. I have another bunch of continental bullocks behind me here. They're good heavy forward stores, and I'm also going to bring them to the Mart with the heifers that I just showed you. I'll just turn around the camera there and we'll have a better look at them. Again, around 19, 20 months of age, mostly AI bred cattle, Charlies, Limousines, and some Belgian Blues. The likes of that Charlie there now are around the 600 kilos at home here. That Blue was 600 kilos as well. That's probably a lighter bullock there. He'd be maybe around a bit under the 550 kilos. My friend there now is also a 600 kilo in around bullock there. So they're like, you know, they're, anyone who buy them now is literally, I'd say, straight into the shed and start feeding them. You know, I said they're forward stores. I have a couple of lighter bullocks on here, the black lad and that yellow lad, and I'll probably put the two of them together. They're serious lumps of bullocks, like they're U-grade bullocks every day of the week. And you know, mightn't be tall, but they're all there. And that's probably the lightest lad, that Belgian Blue. These bullocks have been grass fed only. I haven't put any ration or meal or anything like that into them. I've had a really good run of grass for these lads this year, and as you can see, it's nice thick green grass underneath them, and they've done well, I think, in the last month. So when they go on meal now, I think you'd get a serious response to the meal because they haven't been on it already, and you know, hopefully they'll go on well for the next man. As I said, I think earlier in the video, the beef price was pulled there 10 cents a week for about 3 or 4 weeks, so it's back 30 or 40 cents from what it was there 5 or 6 weeks ago, and that obviously is shown in the Mart trade as well. But I don't really look forward to Mart Day. I find it a very anxious and stressful day. For 8 bullocks there, you'll probably get maybe 10 minutes to sell, so you have kind of, you could say, over 2 years work put into an animal for 10 minutes in the sales ring, and that's dictates in what you get. Like, so it's a mad system really if you thought about it too much, but that is the way it is. But hopefully they'll go well for me, and I'll give you an update maybe towards the end of the video as to how we got on. Just in the New Holland now at the moment, I'm going to put on the slurry spreader because we're coming up to the deadline for spreading slurry. Again, anyone who's not from a farming background or who's not from Ireland, we have a closed period where we can't spread slurry, and that is from the 30th of September until the 15th of January, and that's in this area. So from that period of time, all our slurry has to be stored and it can't be spread on the land. The idea of a closed period is supposed to help our the nitrate in our water and help our water quality, but I don't think it does anything for our water quality. I think it puts a bigger nutrient load on our water at the beginning of the year when the open season starts, and you can spread slurry because everyone is full up to the neck of slurry and they need to get it out. And I think whereas I think if we were allowed spread like we were throughout the winter, farmers would pick and choose a dry week when weather is settled and ground is trafficable, and they'd spread 2,000 gallons of slurry. Even if there was a limit of 1,500 gallons of slurry that you could get out during those periods, based on weather models or whatever, that you can get out, now is a good dry period, land is trafficable. 1,500 gallons of slurry is 15 units of nitrogen. It's not, in my opinion, it's not going to do a whole lot of damage. Anyway, we'll get on and put the slurry spreader on and get going. Now I'll have to bring the slurry spreader up to the workshop because the macerator on the back of it is probably stuck. I haven't used the slurry spreader in a while. My nephew spread all the slurry after the second cut, We had just had a baby at that time, so I drafted him in to do that for me. So the slurry spreader hasn't been used in a while. So the macerator is probably stuck, so I'll have to open up the yoke, put WD-40 on it or something like that, and give it a few taps of a hammer and get it moving. So I have to put this box into the tractor to run the slurry spreader. It's a control box for the macerator and arms and things like that. I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get back to the back of the slurry spreader, but I'll just get this fitted in there now. The cable comes in from the back that you join up there, the power. The macerator is this button, and that's the fella that drives around like that, drag out the slurry out through the pipes. And I'll nearly know now as soon as I turn him on whether he'll go or not. So I know that yoke is stuck, so I'm going to get out there now and open it up and free it up. So I need to open off this cover here. The macerator is in there. Everything is stuck, not used in so a while, but I should have, by right, if I'd known this was going to be parked up for so long, it should be putting releasing fluid or spraying oil and diesel or something in there that will stop it getting corroded. That's just glued shut now with rust in there at the moment. So I have to spread with that thing which is called a dribble bar, and people are spreading now with dribble bars or trailing shoes, and the reason again is we have to spread with that is down to slurry regulations. So if you're reading headlines in the paper that young people are not getting into farming like they used to before in previous years, well, and you're wondering what are all these rules and regulations they're complaining about, you know, I've just gone through a few of them here. Like this yoke now is a nuisance. I'd have a load of slurry spread out through the splash plate while I'm getting this yoke going. So it just slows down things and blockages and other things like that. So while they're well-meaning, I'm sure sometimes they're a pain in the ass. Now we got to go on at last. After giving about 10 minutes spraying and banging and messing there to get that yoke going. So you wouldn't want to forget yourself and put your hand in there, or you'll be with minus a hand this evening. So that yoke spins around. So what happens is the slurry is pumped up into that, and that yoke spins around and forces slurry out fairly evenly out through the pipes. So it's a lesson for anyone who's buying a slurry spreader with a dribble bar macerator on it, is if you're putting it away for any period of time, say open that cover and grease up your macerator. So I'm just out in the reseeded paddock there. I would have sown this paddock about 5 or 6 weeks ago now at this stage. It got its post-emergence spray about 5 days ago. And just while I have the watery slurry there, I said it mightn't do it any harm. Just putting it on at 2,000 gallons to the acre. And to probably give it a little boost on there. I don't know whether it'll be strong enough to graze now before the winter time. I'd like to be able to bring down the dairy beef calves when they're finished on their block of ground and give it a quick graze, and then hopefully it'll help it tiller out for the winter time. It's due a little bit of lime as well, but hopefully I can get around to that as well. So ground is good enough underneath me there. I suppose when I dissed it and didn't plough it, ground is firm enough. So I'm nearly finished. I have about one load left in the tank, and I'll be delighted to be able to tick, as I say, another job off the list. Now it's Friday. We have a storm coming in today. I think Storm Amy it's called. We've had an awful lot of rain during the night and today as well. And the wind is just coming in now. So it's kind of a batten down the hatches sort of night. So how did I get on in the Mart yesterday? I had 4 Charlie heifers in that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So their average weight in the Mart was 558 kilos, and they averaged 2,612 euros, which was €4.68 kilo. So I was very happy with that. They're the first heifers I brought out this year, and bidding was quite good on them, so I was happy enough with them. I was also very happy with the bullocks yesterday as well. The average weight of the bullocks was 552 kilos, and the average price was 2,756 euros, which is just €5 a kilo. So that brings to a total of 25 bullocks I've sold this year, and they're all the suckler bred bullocks that I would have bred here myself. And the average weight over the 25 bullocks is 537 kilos. It's a total of 13,431 kilos of cattle live weight going off the farm. There's 13 ton of beef. Like I suppose when you put it that way, it sounds a big number. The average price then for the 25 bullocks is €5.06. So over 2,700 euros a bullock. So I said I'm very, very happy with that. It's money I've never got for that age animal with so little inputs put into them. As I said, none of those cattle were fed meal at grass or any sort of concentrate. So they would have gone out in March. I'm not sure the turnout, but it's probably we'll say mid-March they went out to grass. I think the average weight was a little bit under 400 kilos. So those cattle did very well at grass while they were here. So from going underage and then their weight and take off their birth weight, those cattle would have gained about a kilo a day worth of live weight gain. So that's exactly what I would have wanted from those cattle. In other videos I said cattle at grass, I'd want them to be gaining a kilo of live weight gain a day, but they obviously were gaining more at grass because in the winter time the average weight daily gain would be maybe about 0.5 of a kilo, sometimes a little less. The only meal those cattle would have got was they would have ate 50 kilos as weanlings before they went into the shed. And if they had a 120-day winter, 2 kilos a day is 240 kilos a meal, which is less than €200 worth of meal that those cattle would have ate in their lifetime while they were here on the farm. I put a big emphasis here on grass and grassland management, and you'd see from the other videos and things like that that I reseeded around 10 acres of grass this year, and that's where I try and work hard on is in grassland management, making sure that my grass is good, a high clover content, and just making sure that I'm doing everything in my power to maximize the genetics in those animals and get that kilo a day lifetime gain. And I hope that I'm achieving that and getting rewarded for it. Like I am very happy with those prices. There's no doubt about it. For young cattle coming off the grass, I don't know if I could do much better than that. So as I said before in the video, I just hope this is going to be the new norm. I pray to God it's going to be the new norm, that these prices are going to stay there. And because we all know they need to be where they are. There's always talk of talking down the price of beef, and now the latest thing I hear is Mercosur deal that the EU are working on at the moment could have beef prices back to about €4.80 over a couple of years, and that's just not sustainable for a beef farmer, and it's not sustainable for anyone. So I hope the EU and our politicians and our lobbyists get kind of working on this, because it's not just beef farmers this affects an awful lot of people. The high standards we farm to here, set down by the EU and in the UK and across Europe, we just can't be letting beef come in from South America that doesn't have traceability. Why am I tagging the cattle here and have a passport for them and all the checks that go with them? If beef can then come in from other countries that doesn't have the same traceability and cattle are not farmed to the same standards as they are here. I know I have a good share of viewers from other countries, and I'd urge you that if you did see Irish beef in your supermarket, that you take it off the shelf and try it, and support the likes of us here that are farming what I think personally to a high standard, put a lot of work into animal welfare and making sure that these animals have the best life on the farm while they're here. And the same way with Irish consumers, that vote with your feet and you buy Irish product and support the Irish. Whether it's beef, milk, whatever it is, vegetables, you're making sure to support Irish farmers and keep Irish farmers in business. When farming is going well, the economy is going well. As I say, money was made around to go around. And when farmers have money to spend money, the whole community gets the touch off of that. Like, there's a huge industry behind agriculture. It's not just the farmers themselves, it's all the support networks, the merchants, the machinery sales, you name it. I could go on. Just when you hear all this talk of Mercosur and things like that, again, kind of puts the fear in you that just when you're getting kind of good price for your animals and that you're very satisfied in the way you're working, that the threat is coming to your income again, and it's a terrible way to be all the time. But anyway, enough of that. Behind me here are cattle I have in fattening. There is some suckler bred cattle, but they're Angus suckler bred. And some of them will be ready for the factory soon. And there's also some dairy bred heifers, Herefords and Anguses in there as well. So I'll show you them another day in another video when we're doing some work with them. So I'm going to leave the video at that. I hope I didn't go on too long there at the end. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Thanks for watching.